Welcome back, World History 2 students. Mr. Deegan here. Please get out your Unit 1 VidNotes packet and turn to page 10. Today we will be tackling lesson number 5, entitled Geography and Interpreting Maps. What are maps? They are symbolic illustrations of a place. What can maps help us do? First, maps help us locate countries and cities. Second, maps can show mountains and deserts, rivers and oceans, and the elevation and depth of land and water. Third, maps can show how humans interact with the world. In other words, the cultural patterns of our world. Maps are difficult to make accurate. Why? Earth is a three-dimensional sphere, but maps are created on a one-dimensional plane. Maps are the most accurate symbol that we can get. Throughout history, there have been many map makers who've created these one-dimensional symbols. And this is the Mercator Map Projection. It was first used by sailors in the 1500s, in the age of exploration, the age of Christopher Columbus. It's now used by Google Maps, Yahoo Maps, and other internet companies. But the Mercator Map Projection has flaws. It distorts the size of land masses that are further north or south of the equator. It's because of these flaws that the Mercator Map Projection has been rejected by historians today. So historians today reject the Mercator Map Projection and use the Gall-Peters Map Projection. Cartographers, those who study the science of map making, James Gall and Arno Peters created a map that limits distortion. And this is the Gall-Peters Map Projection, which was given the stamp of approval by a group in the United Nations. UNESCO, the United Nations Educational, Scientific, and Cultural Organization. They have said this map is the most accurate one-dimensional symbol we can get today. Look at Greenland, look at Australia. That is more accurate. Let's step back and define some basic terms about maps. What is a political map? An example is here of the United States. A political map shows boundary lines, aka political units of countries, cities, states, etc. What is a physical map? A physical map shows features of geography. These features could be natural, like lakes, mountains, the soil type, or they could be man-made, like roads, railroads, buildings. That's a physical map. Thirdly, what is a thematic map? A thematic map shows themes in a place's culture or environment. A thematic map helps us better understand the culture or makeup of a place. This is an example of a thematic map that was published in the Washington Post. And its title says, "Where people feel the most and least loved." And you look at the colored legend, the darker the shade of red, the more love people feel in a certain country. The darker the shade of blue, the less love people feel. In North and South America, people seem to be feeling love. In Russia, in parts of Asia, this is Mongolia, people don't feel much love. As historians, we can use this information to ask ourselves, why is it people feel more loved in these countries? Is it because the governments are better and more stable? Is it because more people in these countries have some type of religion that helps them better process love? Is it because there's been less conflict and war? Let's now explore how cartographers, map makers who study the science of map making, divide up the world. They divide up the world into hemispheres. What is a hemisphere? Hemis in Greek literally means half of a sphere. The prime meridian at 0 degrees and the equator at 0 degrees are two dividing lines that divide up our world. Let's first look at the eastern and western hemispheres, which are divided by the prime meridian. Anything to the left of the prime meridian or west of the prime meridian is in the western hemisphere. North and South America are entirely in the western hemisphere. Anything east or to the right of the prime meridian is in the eastern hemisphere. Most of Africa, most of Europe, all of Asia, and all of Australia lie in the eastern hemisphere. You might hear people talk about Japan or China as the Far East. They do that because they lie in the eastern hemisphere, far from the prime meridian. Northern and southern hemispheres are divided by the equator. Anything north of the equator is in the northern hemisphere. You see, most of the world's land masses are in the northern hemisphere, and south of the equator is the southern hemisphere in blue. Now, please turn to page 12 of your packet. This is an assignment for you. You are to use your computer, your book, or a phone to locate 36 countries that we will be studying throughout the year. And you're going to take a quiz on their locations in class. Am I doing this to torture you? No, I am doing this because we're going to be learning about these 36 countries. And if you already have a picture in your mind about where they're located, you will be able to understand these countries more deeply. And when you're done with that, we have completed lesson 5. This is Mr. Deegan, signing off.